Hello neighbor, this is Curt with etrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Benton Shifts&Grins 2-bike hitch carrier and see how it interacts with our 2022 Ford Edge. Now, if you've gone ahead and decided to purchase this particular bike rack and you've got some experiences to share, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. We would love to hear those stories and share them with our other neighbors in order to help them make the best decision for themselves. Now, the Benton Shifts&Grins is a bike carrier with a weight capacity of 55 pounds per bike, so it will carry some of those lighter weight e-bikes that are out there on the market. But I think where it really shines is the versatility. The versatility of this bike rack is amazing because it can accommodate just about any bike that you've got as long as it's underneath that weight limit. And the reason for that is this arm and hook can be both wheel mounted, which is generally the most popular way to do it, but if you have a bike with fenders, like a lot of e-bikes do nowadays, it can also be moved back to become frame mounted, so you can protect those fenders. Having that kind of versatility is great because you can take out several different styles of bikes if you own a bunch of different kinds, and can also accommodate even children's bikes and things like that. So it's very versatile. But in talking about how it interacts with our Ford Edge, just like any other kind of platform bike rack, you are going to have some obstructions in the back. As far as other drivers go, we're going to have a bit of obstruction in the taillights. Of course, depending on the bike, looking out your rear window. The license plate is going to be a bit obstructive, but most importantly for you as the driver is the rear view camera is going to have some obstruction as well. Now, with that being said, it's always a good idea to know just what kind of footprint this is leaving behind your bumper. So let's go ahead and take some measurements and figure that out right now. So from the bumper to the furthest point of the rack, you're looking at adding an extra 30.5 inches to the rear of your vehicle. So really just make sure you keep that in mind when you're backing into a tighter space or trying to parallel park. The other thing we want to take a look at is our ground clearance. So for the furthest point of the rack, you got about 16.5, almost 17 inches of ground clearance, which is really good. But it is important to keep in mind that the shank right here comes out straight. It doesn't have any type of rise to it. And we've only got about 9.5 inches of ground clearance for that, which is also coming out about 16 inches away from the bumper. So do keep that in mind. You do have a low ground clearance coming out on this shank right here. So if you have a steep incline or a steep driveway that you're coming up on, just make sure that you're conscious of that ground clearance. Now, I mentioned before too that we've got a 55-pound weight capacity here on the Benton Shifts&Grins. So just make sure that you're comfortable getting that up to about 21 inches to load and unload those heavier bikes. Now, taking a look at what this looks like with a bike loaded and what kind of clearance we've got back here, this actually does keep the rack or the bike itself a bit further away. And this is a large frame bike we've got on here today. So even on a bumpier road or something like that, we're really not in any danger of the pedals or the handlebars hitting the back of the vehicle. And one of the most important questions that we get when it comes to a hitch platform bike rack is, will you have access to your lift gate? And in the case of the Benton Shifts&Grins, you will. We're just going to pop this button in on the end here and brace the bike and slowly lower it away from the vehicle. At this point, we can come right around and get full access into our lift gate. Now we can keep the bike loaded. We can go in, grab our helmet, sit down, change our shoes, get some water, whatever we really need. But the other thing that comes in handy is if you're someone that rides a lot and you tend to have this on your car at all times, you may just want to go to the store and be able to load up groceries or whatever is necessary. This way you can do that without removing the bike or the bike rack itself. And in order to get it back up into its riding position, we're just going to simply lift up and wait for the click. There you go. Now we're right back into our riding position and we're ready to hit the road. And loading and unloading this bike is actually really easy. There are 3 points of contact. We've got a wheel strap on each wheel that is a ratcheting strap and has this little rubber pad on it to help protect your wheels. So we're going to go ahead and depress this tab, get the strap out, feed it through the spokes, and clear it out to the other side. We're going to do the same thing on our front wheel here. Just depress that tab, lift it through, and out the other side. Now we're going to clear our hook and arm by depressing this button here, lifting the hook up off the wheel and clearing it. Now we're able to remove our bike and either hit the trail or store it, whatever we're doing. Now, when you don't have a bike on your rack, we don't want to leave it out in this deployed position. It does have a stowaway position, so we're going to depress the same button we used for the tilt-away, and we're just going to lift against it instead. And now that we've got that done, we've significantly reduced our footprint behind the vehicle. We took this measurement a little bit earlier, and now we're right at about 17 inches. So we almost cut that footprint in half, but just keep in mind you've got almost 1.5 feet back here still. For backing into those tighter spaces. But the good news is that we've got full taillight clearance now, everything out the rear window obviously, the license plate is clear. You're probably going to still have a little bit of obstruction from the top of this, but if you know that you got that extra 1.5 feet back here, it should be pretty maneuverable. So that's a look at the Benton Shifts&Grins, an excellent choice for anybody that really wants some versatility out of their bike rack on their 2022 Ford Edge. I'm Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.